let's go back to advisors, and let's just say we've got to narrow it down to three things. And these are like things like, we did this, it wasn't crazy expensive, and it changed the game for the attendee experience. If there was one, two, three things that an advisor, let's say, is hosting a client event of maybe it's 20 people, 50 people, 100 people, that they could borrow from your playbook, insert these three things, and it would turn it from an event to an experience. What would be some tips there?
Yeah, so I think one would be, depending on where it's located, like get local, right? Work with local venues, whether that's restaurants and other chefs, and whatever the local activities are. Like
Mm-hmm.
embrace the locale. Most people, you
Mm-hmm.
travel around to these spaces, and it's like this beautiful resort in this beautiful city, but you don't leave the hotel. So embrace that, and whether that is
Mm.
venturing out and going on a little tour, that could be as something as simple as like a bar crawl or a food crawl or something like
Well,
that.
you brought local baristas in. That was one of the
Yeah,
things. Like I was talking to you had like little coffee stations. The guy's like, no, I got a store like 2 blocks over, and it was cool.
everyone there was local. Like we bring all
Yeah.
this. That's the one thing about supporting. It's important for us. Like we're not just coming as an industry and like, taking over your city for 4 days. We're
Hmm.
embracing it and actually supporting it. And, I think now with the scale of Future Proof, I think we put in like something like $5-6 million indirectly into the city with local vendors and
Wow. Cool.
restaurants and such. Super cool. But going back to like the ways you could take it is like, yeah, get local, either, go and venture off, support them, or bring them in. They love this stuff. And so you could do a lot of hands-on training, and it doesn't all have to be like educational based. So a big thing right now, and I, looking at it as advisor space, is like personal branding and marketing. Like that's a big thing. Everyone's talking about growth. Well, like having training there on an educational aspect, but do it in a workshop where they actually walk away with something tangible. So education that isn't just talking about like their portfolio or anything, like hands-on shared learning experiences, whether that be something that challenges my mind, or lets me, experience something that I, may be interested in, but never had the time to do. That's a huge win, very cost-effective opportunity. The second one is thinking about what is the experience right when you walk in the door, right? You always want to surprise and delight. And so this year, one of the things we did was we had, after leaving one of those breakthrough sessions, like we knew breakthrough was new, knew there's going to be a large crowd walking in and then all at the same time walking out. And so what we did is we hired local dancers to come in. They dressed casual like us, and they were started walking the crowd, and they just broke out into a dance. And so again, it's like, everyone's pulling out their phones. Obviously, that was a little bit more of a costly because it was a production, but do things depending on the size and format of your event to like say, I went in here expecting all of this, and it was a 5-star experience. But then on top of it, they did that. That's that one
Hmm.
thing, because that's what they're going to tell their friends, their family about. And so, what is that one thing that you want to focus on that maybe that's unique to your brand or to who you are, the theme of the event? The third thing, and it sounds silly, but it's like feed people and like give them food and beverage as you would want it. Most people, what we tend to do in event space is like you manage the business like you manage your real business, which is through this vein of a budget without any feeling of an experience. And so it's like, whoa, coffee costs this. Like, all right, we're gonna shorten the coffee. Well, then they're going to be sleeping in your sessions, right? Like it's like subtle things.
Hmm.
So you have to be willing to make an investment. Obviously, be smart with your costs, but don't cheap out on the experience. And that food and beverages tends to be this thing that is like you could do everything right, but if you give them a rubber chicken or a burnt coffee, that's the one thing they'll talk about forever. And so just think about really leveling up the hospitality aspect and the food and beverage specifically within your events.